another story.
Well, he also says being in love is not necessary. Is not a necessary. I'm sorry. Being in love is not necessarily for a healthy relationship. So, I mean, is being in love a healthy relationship, or is not? Is it not a healthy relationship? Is it a healthy relationship, or is not?
Well, being in love is definitely going to be a healthy relationship. One of the things I tell people is that, especially as it relates to being married, you want to marry your best friend.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You want to marry somebody who you're absolutely in love with. And the reason why is because people fall in and out of love all the time. But when we become best friends, there's some things I'm not going to do because we friends.
Yeah,
We're not just be friends, but we best friends. There's certain conversations I'm not going to even entertain because we are best friends. There's some people I'm not going to hang with because you don't like them. And that's disrespect to you. And because our relationship is so tight and because I love you, I'm not going to do certain things. So I believe that's very, very important, to be in love with whoever you're with.
Right.
And furthermore, if you're not in love, then why are we in a relationship?
Right.
You're just wasting time.
Right. He said it's not a necessity. Being in love is not a necessity for a healthy relationship.
It's not a necessity
that might be true for him.
Yeah,
that might be true for him.
I think for certain individuals that comes out to be true. That it's not a necessity of a relationship. Because for me to be in any kind of healthy relationship, I need to be in love or feel the love. And if I don't feel it, I don't think I'm in a healthy relationship. And I think each individual has a way of expressing their love. Doctor, I got one listener and viewer on here named Keisha. She said love isn't a feeling, it's a commitment. So you can love, but you can only commit to one person. I think that's coming off what we were talking about, the one gentleman Teddy was talking about.
Sure.
And I have another listener, Linda, and we can go in there. She wants to know what's your opinion on the difference between loving someone and being in love. What is your opinion on that, or your take on being in love and loving?
Sure. So I don't want to go Bible on you, but let me say this. The scripture that we grew up with, right, in as a child, and that scripture was, "For God so loved the world that He gave." Right. I think this is important because as it relates to love, right, if love isn't an action word and being in a place where it's an even exchange, then it's really not love.
Right.
My problem with men and my problem with women is don't tell me that you love me, but you don't do nothing. It's just lip service. There is no corresponding action behind it. You just saying that you love me. And 9 times out of 10, fellas, we always say, "Listen, we love you,"
but we don't mean it
because we trying to get the
right.
Trying to get the cookie. That's
right.
I'm telling you,
that was my favorite line back in the days, Doctor.
That's not an even exchange.
Doctor, back in the days when I was a young one, that was my favorite line. Favorite line right there. I love you, baby. You know I love you. Just get the cookies.
Absolutely.
And you're right about, men could sense the insecurities, because I used to walk in a room or a club back when I was younger, and I used to sense the one that was more insecure, that I can actually have the most corniest lip game, but it's enough to build up a security that she can come back to me, and then I turn around and say, "I don't know how I do this, but I love you, baby." You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
You're absolutely right about that.
But it has to be an even exchange.
Right.
And it goes back to the guy's question, being in love. I don't want to be in a relationship where it's only one-sided. I'm putting 150% into this relationship. I absolutely love this woman. I'm in love with her. And she, I don't really love you. You all right. I don't want to be in no relationship like that. I need to make sure, and you ought to make sure, the person that's loving you is loving you back. Because it needs to be an even exchange. Otherwise, somebody's going to feel cheated on. and it's not going to work. And it ends up being dysfunctional. It's going to end up being a dysfunctional relationship because somebody's going to feel cheated.
Dr. D,
being in love needs to be an even exchange. Yes, sir.
Dr. D, I got a question, and we'll pick that right up, Don. What are some of the common things that you experience that people complain about relationship that you have actually counseled or through therapy sections? What are the most common things that usually is the doom of a relationship or why they can't find a relationship?
So one of the questions I always get is, why me again? And that means this guy cheated on me, or this relationship didn't work. I thought this was the one. Everything was great in the beginning, but 3 months down the road, all hell broke loose, right?
Right.
So one of the things I tell people is that we've been taught to exchange numbers. We'll go to Fridays or Applebee's or IHOP, and we'll call that a date. And I think we need to go back to old school days where we used to court, right?
Right.
Because there's a difference between courting and dating. But I think we need to go back and court women these days, because one of the things I'm finding out, even after I got divorced, was I'm spending bread on a woman that I don't even know.
That you don't know if you're gonna be with.
I'm talking about every weekend I'm spending bread.
So,
and we're not even in a relationship.
Right. So what's the difference between dating and courting a woman or the lady that you want to do? Now, this is something that I believe it or not, I just recently experienced, that I read upon and so forth, but I truly don't know the difference between dating and courting. Sure.
So let me help you out. So one of the things that I teach across the country is this: there's 5 steps to relationships. These steps are steps that you cannot afford to skip. You can't skip.
Take these notes, guys. Take these notes down.
The first step is called friendship. All right, friendship. This is the foundation. We need to figure out, again, before I start spending all this money on you, I need to figure out, are you even cool to be over the phone with?
Right.
If we see each other, your breath might stink, and I might not even like you no more. You might be absolutely boring over the phone, and I don't want to continue this relationship. So the first thing we need to do is become friends. I didn't say sex partners. I didn't say we need to share the same bank account. We need to ride in the same car, but we need to become friends first. And this is the missing link of why relationships don't work and marriages don't work, because we were never friends from the beginning. That's number one.
It was a booty call from the beginning.
Number 2 is where we get this word courting, right? Now, courting, my definition of courting is, this is where I call the discovery stage, right? Anybody who's ever been locked up, that once you go to jail, they do what is called a discovery.
Right.
And that tells you everything that you've done from the time you were 18 until recent, right?
Correct.
And so the courting helps me before we, because first of all, we just met.
Right.
We went to dinner a couple of times, so now I'm actually courting you. So over a period of time, I need to figure out, and this is what I need everybody to catch tonight.
Listen.
What is on not just your courting resume, but what is on your dating resume?
Oh, wow.
There's a lot that we can learn from corporate America. One of the things that we know is that when you go for a job, you have to bring them a resume. They want to see what you've been doing over the last 5 years, 3 years, 2 years, 2 months.
Right.
You don't get a job unless they are able to see and pinpoint and have this conversation with you about what you've done. So courting is the discovery stage. Once you discover who this person is, now it's time. Let's take this to another level. Now let's become anonymous, right? Let's become together. Let's bring this in now. So now this is where we have titles. That's my man. That's my boo. That's my girl. Yada yada yada. Now we're in a relationship. But that courting is essential, because you may find yourself wasting valuable time that you can't get back because you never took the time to learn a person for who they are. One of the things that I always tell people is that, because this has been a phrase that we've always heard, is that, you know, when you meet somebody, Dr. G, you don't really meet the real them. There's always a representative, right?
Right.
So I'm telling people now that's not necessarily true, because I believe that when you do meet some people, I believe it's not their representative, but I believe it's really them. They were crazy from day one. They were schizophrenic from day one. He was a dog from day one. And so not everybody brings a representative to the table.
Right.
But the courting stage or the discovery stage help you decipher whether or not I need to continue this relationship, because I don't want to waste. I got kids now. I don't have time to be doing this with you. I need to figure out if this is absolutely. I need to figure out what's happening. So you got friendship, the friendship stage. You got the courting stage.
Right.
You have the dating stage. Then after the dating stage, of course, you know, is the engagement. Now it's time for us to be engaged. And then the last stage ultimately should be marriage. I'm not just dating anybody just to be dating. My ultimate goal in my life is marriage. So those are the 5 steps of relationships. But that courting stage is essential. I need to figure out who you are.
Right.
You know, I might find out that you got 5 kids instead of 4.
the other one hidden in the closet. Shut up, boy. Shut up.
Yeah, we got a problem.
I want to go back to Teddy. He had another statement here, and he says, "I'm going back to being in love." Okay, and he says people often think their relationship is failing when the feeling of being in love isn't there. But the truth is, you can love deeply and effectively despite not being in love. Right? Which, you know, he says, when I say in love, he's talking about those feelings we have in the beginning that seems to come and go as we get used to our partner.
Right. But I think also, that this is my opinion, and Dr. D, you can come and jump in there. I think what Dr. D, and that's that courting part is to know your partner. Therefore, when you get to a point of the partners coming your friend, your best friend, then your lover, then your wife, when you meet that best friend, you know how you like, oh, yeah, that's my best friend. I got to pick this up. Hey, me and my best friend going shopping. I think if you find that, you will always be in love, or you will always have that love. Yes, you may have your disagreements. Yes, you may have little tit-tats here and there, but within that next minute, you understand each other, and that feeling is right back. I met an old couple actually about a month ago, and I was talking to them. They were talking like they were still in love, and the guy told me, he goes, look, he said, my wife was my friend, my best friend for 10 years until he realized that this is the woman that I wanted to marry. And they've been the same ever since. He opened the doors for her still. He turns around and buys her flowers every so often. They do a dinner date. And they said that feeling has never changed. I think that courting part is a huge part, and I learned that the last few months by watching this older couple. Dr. D, you can chime in here at any time.
So absolutely. So one of the things, and then I want to answer this question right, and I want to answer this question by saying the number one problem that I always see with people who are falling in and out of love is two individuals, right, who have to come and look at the relationship, and they have gotten too common. They've gotten too comfortable in the relationship. One of the things that we know to be true is men, we love toys. We like cars, right? If you go buy you a brand new Bentley tonight, a brand new 2019 Bentley, the first 2-3 months you're gonna love it. 6 months you're gonna start, it's okay. Right. A year from today, it ain't gonna have that same feeling. And you know why it's not gonna have that same feeling? It's because you've gotten too comfortable with what you have.
Right.
And so now because the comfortability, now you want the next best thing. And so the problem in our relationships that we're having, I'm seeing,